going on, y'all? Welcome back to the chaos. If you're new here, I'm Ryan, and we're actually up early this morning waiting on Paul because we're going on a little road trip. So we're actually going to look at a car. And no, not for me. The Chaos Garage is plenty full at the moment. I got enough projects of my own, but Paul is actually looking at a car. So he currently has a 2008 Mustang. Well, we're actually going to look at another 2008 Mustang. This one's actually a Bullitt. So, and I know you're thinking like, why would you want two of the same car? But this car that we're going to look at pretty much has all of the mods that he's kind of planned out in his head for his own car. So he's going to use this one as like a donor, strip all of the nice parts off, swap them over to his car because it has some sentimental value and just he really is attached to his car. And little PSA for anybody that when you start modding cars, you're never going to recoup the money. So what he's going to do is pull all the good parts off, strip it, take it back to as close to stock as possible, and then offload the Bullitt. So he'll be able to recoup some of the money initially invested into this project car. But I'm excited for him because as a car guy, we always have like our little checklist, wish list of things we want to do. So this will pretty much take his car from nearly stock, because I think he's got some suspension mods, a little bit of exhaust, just basic bolt-ons, to from mild to wild, all in one shot. So this will be like a winter project for him, but I'm excited for him because it's been a long time coming. But wait for him to get here and I'll actually let him give you the rundown on everything this car has and what his grand vision is. Met up with Paul, obviously, and I'm gonna let him kind of give you the rundown on what we're trying to accomplish today, what we're looking at, and what his grand vision for this whole project is gonna be.
All right, so for the longest time, I've been debating on what I'm gonna do for my Mustang to increase the performance. Went back and forth between engine swapping it to a Coyote, to supercharging it, keeping it an NA build for the track. Ultimately, I decided I want a supercharger, and I want to keep it the 3-valve just because I really love the sound of a 3-valve. I know I can make more power with an engine swap to a Coyote, but to me, I have a certain amount of power that I'm comfortable with. I don't need to make like 4-digit power on that thing. So to try and do this the most cost-effective way, I figured, well, let's see if I can find a car that's got most of what I need, pilfer the parts, and then get rid of that car. So today, hopefully, I've found that car. So we're gonna go take a look at it. According to the build list, it's got the supercharger on it, it's got a cam, it's got some Recaro seats that I wanted to get. Might need reupholstering, but
yeah, because I got like green stitching to them and stuff. Like, yeah, very nice.
And the goal would be, if the parts are good, if it runs well, the guy supposedly has some stock parts for it, and it might have to take a road trip to get those, but it
what do you mean? We're in a truck, we're in the Danger Ranger.
Exactly. So we might be able to, get the parts off this car, return it to stock, sell it, and then I'll be out of pocket for the minimal amount possible, but get maximum value with the parts that I want. So that's the goal. We'll just have to see how things shake out, if the car looks straight, see if I can't work out a price that I want to, because I've got in my head, I've got the math worked out to where this is going to be a ridiculously fantastic deal if I can get the car for what I want and if the quality of the car is there.
Well, even because you were telling me, like, just if you were to buy this supercharger setup, just, of course brand new, but like if you were to buy it separate, well, that's $6,500.
Yeah.
As is. So I mean, like, that in itself, and like I was kind of giving the blog a rundown, I was like, once you start modding cars, prices, or like your value of the vehicle itself, just kind of goes out the window. So yeah, if I ever sell a vehicle of any sort, I'm gonna try to knock it down to as stock as possible, because you're not recouping any of the value. So he's throwing all these parts at it, which again, like, I'm an advocate for that. I love to make everything my own, but in the long run, it's not adding value to the car. So you're better off, like doing what Paul's doing, stripping the car and then just offloading it as stock as possible. So, but I'm excited to see. Is there any difference between, because this is a 2008 Bullitt.
Yep.
Is it a 3-valve as well?
It's a 3-valve.
Okay.
The only difference is, as far as I know, aside from aesthetic stuff, It came from the factory with a different muffler setup on it, more throaty note to it.
Which this guy's already switched because it's got Borla Ataks on it.
Yeah, and
so
I think he might have the stock one still in storage. I'm not 100% clear on that, but
okay.
I think it may have come factory with 373 gears. I'm not 100% on that.
Which you already have gears in your car.
Right.
But you got, what are you running?
373s.
Oh, same thing. Okay,
Same thing,
same
yeah.
setup. Yeah.
So, and I think the suspension may have been also slightly stiffer setup.
Gotcha.
But I mean, aside from that,
mainly aesthetics.
Mainly aesthetics. Everything from the motor should transfer over. There's a possibility that the heads on the motor are the redesigned heads because I think they switched over mid-08 model year.
Okay.
But if anything, that just means I have to get a different set of spark plugs out of this one.
Not too bad.
But yeah, otherwise, everything is pretty much the same.
Sweet. So I'm excited for him because this has been a long time coming. Like I said, everybody has kind of like a wish list and things they want to do to their car. And to see it come to fruition, like, I'm excited for him. So, because it's gonna, like I said, this build is about to go from mild to wild if it all pans out. So, we'll see how it goes. But let's go ahead and hit the road and see what we're up against.
Sounds good.
We're actually just rolling up to the entrance of the military base. So doubtful we can do any filming at all, but plus vlog etiquette, you're just not gonna throw a camera in some rando's face, you know, like we're just meeting this guy trying to buy his car, so don't do that. But we're gonna go check in up here and get on base, and like I said, doubt if I can do much filming, but if I can, we'll show you as much as possible. So we actually just left base, and there was a lot to take in. So there's a lot of positives and a lot of negatives, but Paul and I are gonna go grab lunch and just kind of talk it out and just run down, because the car was a little more rough around the edges than we originally thought. But yeah, we're just gonna go hash it out, and then after we're fueled up and not hungry anymore, we'll kind of give you all the rundown as well, like pros and cons, because it's about 50-50 for pros and cons. So we're gonna go grab something to eat, and then we'll update y'all on what we saw. All right, so we were able to grab some lunch, kind of do some car guy math. Like, that's what everybody's favorite thing to do. So the guy, and we're just full transparency, so the guy is asking 15. And when we showed up, like, and I don't want to like crap on anybody's car, because that's not what we're trying to do here, but we do just want to be transparent, be honest about what we saw. So it was a little rough for the wear. I mean, like the pictures and video that he sent, it didn't paint the full picture. So, because originally he had it listed at 17 or more.
At the start at 25.
And then at 25, like, these cars are rare, because I think there are like 5,000 and some change, like, because they only made them mainly 2008s, little into the 2009 model year. So there's not that many, like, they are numbered cars and everything like that. But I would say maybe, yeah, probably like mint condition might pull that, but just this is far from that. And again, like, no offense to the guy, like, super nice, everything like that, but it's just the car isn't as described. So, like, just running through some of the issues we found, mainly like it was
cosmetic mostly.
Yeah, absolutely cosmetic. So it was basically faded bumpers, like front and rear bumpers were just faded all to get out. Like, it looked like it had been sitting on the Phoenix desert for a couple years, just baking in the sun. But it was originally a Texas car, so like didn't really see that much rust. Like, there was some surface rust, stuff like that, but nothing. Yeah, mechanically there was no valve train noise, anything like that. The car sounded phenomenal. It's got Borla Ataks on it, and like that's one of the loudest exhausts you can have.
And a Detroit rocker cam, so a nice little chop to it.
Yep, very nice. Yeah, good lope and everything because it's cammed. Yeah, it's got a lot of good parts. Like the Recaro's in it. I know Paul had mentioned that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of good bones. It's just rough around the edges is the best way to put it. I mean, like, there's the door panels. Apparently those cars, because your car now has that problem too, like the peeling door panels. So he tried to repair one side, but then just never got around to the passenger side. So it's just like little oddities and things, like little spider webbing in the paint, and it almost looks like maybe the trunk or deck lid had been like resprayed, because it was like some weird like black residue, and I thought it was like on top of the paint. Paul was like, nah, that's baked in, it's under the clear coat and everything. So not the worst. It's got the Cervinis hood, so I mean, like, that's got good quality parts on it. Whiteline bushings, Whiteline control arms, yeah, the supercharger. So I mean, he's done all the right things and spent money in the right places, but it does have some age on it. So all these things he did about 40,000 miles ago. So we were kind of wondering, the motor has a lot of shake to it. So when it was sitting there idling, I mean, like, you could visibly see the motor just shaking. So I don't know if that was polyurethane bushings that he had put in there and that's what's causing the shake, but I've never seen a motor move around like that. But as far as, yeah, power steering pump, that didn't make any whine to it, because Ford is notorious for like having just a very noisy power steering pump. That was smooth, idled smooth. I mean, like, especially for a cammed motor, like it was solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just some things that Paul would kind of want to offload to kind of recoup some money and everything. But yeah, like, it needs some things too, like to actually make it sellable. Tires are must. I mean, like, there was dry rot on the sidewalls and the tread itself.
I'd be a little bit sketched out to drive that thing back home from where it is now, and it's only an hour drive.
Yep. And you did get to test drive it, so like, what were your impressions actually driving it?
So one of the things I didn't like, which won't be an issue for me, it had a spec stage 2 clutch in it, single disc. I don't like the engagement on that, but that won't be a problem because I have a special little surprise that is going to be part of the project that I picked up. The throttle was extremely touchy, but it's an electronic throttle, so that's fixable with the tuner. But yeah, you barely set your foot on there. Like, the weight of your foot was almost enough to rev it. So takeoffs were a little bit suspect. It almost looked like I didn't know how to drive a stick. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, like, you feel the torque, it's smooth. I could only drive it so fast on the base. We could only get up to 50 miles an hour, so I couldn't really open it up that much. You know, I kind of kept it in second gear and kind of ran the revs through just to see if there were any hiccups or anything. Motor felt solid. The suspension that the guy has on it actually feels a little bit more comfortable than what I've got on my car now, but it's staying with the car, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, overall, it mechanically felt perfectly fine.
Yep. Going through trying to figure out, because we would want to bring this car as stock as possible to then sell it. So yeah, in order to do that, tires basically kind of remove that roll cage, and when you do that, like, luckily it's a bolt-in cage, but obviously you had to cut the carpet and like the rear plastics, those had to be cut to make it fit, so that would all have to be replaced. So that's just a little labor intensive to get in there and remove the cage and make it look factory again. The steering wheel that he had in there, no horn. Right. So you want to put a factory steering wheel back in there, so that's coming out of pocket. Because he had that steering wheel in there, he's actually relocated the cruise control and those buttons to like the headliner. So all that would have to be ran back to steering wheel controls. So all these things are doable. It's just realistically, we were kind of talking numbers and stuff, and like, in order to make all this happen, probably 11.5 is honestly about to make it work. To then offload all of these unused parts, swap everything over, that's top dollar. So I mean, the worst thing you can say is no. We just hate to lowball somebody, but being realistic about the car and the condition it's in now, I would say if you were to rate this car on a scale of 10, 10 being like immaculate, what would you put it at?
Maybe a 5. 5,
yeah. And that's, yeah, generous.
But, you know, again, not a knock on the car, but it's obviously done a lot of time sitting outside in the elements. It is a 15-year-old car going on 16 years old. Yep. My car is the same age. 10,000 fewer miles, but it spent a lot of its time in the garage, and it generally doesn't see any bad weather. So, you know, it's to be expected for the age of the car. And, you know, modifications, as we all know, they add value to you when you're using it, but not when you go to sell it.
Nope.
So, you know, we have the dollar figure in mind. I'm gonna make the offer, see what happens. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, pivot, make the project happen some other way.
Exactly, and that's what I told Paul. I was like, hey, at least you got, you know, it was a fun outing today. At least you got to drive a fun little car around for a little bit. And yeah, because is that the first cammed car you've ever driven?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So yeah, got to go through that experience, and it was kind of my Mustang is cammed as well, so like it has like some of the same characteristics as this car has. So I was kind of glad to see that too, because I don't really know anybody else with a cammed car. So there's all these quirks that come along with it, and I always thought my car, I was like, yeah, maybe there's something wrong with it, but nope, his car had the same characteristics. So I was glad of that. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So we're gonna throw out an offer and hope for the best. Well, it's a few days later, and if you can't tell already, Paul's pulled the trigger. So how you feeling, Paul?
Feeling pretty good, although you've now like put a huge wrinkle into my plans.
So yeah, off camera, I was just like, because Bullets, which like I didn't know that much about them, and I don't know if I don't discredit you or your knowledge of the Bullets, but I didn't know that much about them until he started telling me his ideas or whatever. So like that's what led me to like look up Bullets and realize like they only made him for like 2008 pretty much exclusively. There were a few, I can't remember exactly numbers now, but there was a few made in 2009, but very, very few. So I think there's just a touch over 5,000 of these cars in existence. So compared to Paul's like one of many just regular base GTs, I was like, have you thought about, you know, this is a numbered car, it's got some rarity to it, you know, like 20 years, 30 years down the road, like I feel like people are gonna maybe seek this one out more so than a base GT, but I don't know. Now I'm stressing Paul out. But the good news is he is a brand new owner of a Bullitt, no matter what he decides to do with it, whether he decides to offload it and keep his dark horse or make this. I told him this is dark horse 2.0, so we'll see, but I'm so ecstatic for him. Like, this car is awesome.
It's mean.
It is very mean. Paul's out for his maiden journey in his new supercharged Bullitt. So I'm following Paul home, and I think I'm smiling more than he is. I'm so happy for him. Like, that car is sick. So I can't wait to see what he does with it. But whether it be swapping all the parts to his original GT or keeping this car, I don't know. But he's definitely got that internal dilemma, and I get it, because he's had the original GT since it was brand new. He brought it fresh off the dealership lot. That was like his first new car purchase, and he's had it for so long. They got that sentimental value. But I know one thing, that car in front of me is awesome. Sounds great, it has the looks, it's killer. So I'm so glad he was able to pick that up, and he got a steal on it too. So we're heading to the house, and I'm following him. And I can't wipe the smile off my face. I'm sure he's smiling up there too. Dude, I'm giddy for you. Like, I was smiling the whole time. This thing looks the part. Like, I hate to sound like super cheesy or whatever, but like it looks and sounds race car. Because you can kind of see like the little bar, you know, like the roll cage or whatever. Like, you can see that peeking just enough to get a good look at it when you're behind you, and like all the crackles on the downshifts. Yes. Oh my god, dude, it looks and sounds mean. Has it sank in that it's yours? No. But the thing is, like, you look the part, like, because you've had this similar-esque car, just not this one, but like, dude, you own basically a race car at this point.
I stole it.
Do I?
It feels like
you stole it. I mean, for the price and what you got, I feel like you kind of did, because I mean, like, you couldn't, there's no way you could rebuild this for the cost. Like, yeah,
so the original target was 11.5. I ended up going 12,
which I feel like, I mean, in the long run, that's what I was, what's 500 bucks,
right?
You know, what's $500? YOLO. But
right. And you know, the car math, it worked out originally with the original plans of what I was going to do, but even now, if I go plan B, still works out pretty well.
Let us know in the comments what he should do with it. Should we project flip them? You know, like swap everything from this one to the Dark Horse. Y'all seen that enough on the channel. I'll throw it in for clips and stuff too, but keep it. After that drive, like, oh dude.
You feel different driving this too.
I bet. Yeah. How does it feel? Because as far as like cams and stuff, like,
so it's really drivable. You know, the clutch I'm not the biggest fan of. It's a spec stage 2 single disc, so yeah. It's kind of like not a lot of slip to get off the line, and with the power this thing makes, or the torque rather, right off the get-go, you know, it takes a little bit of getting used to.
Well, you look smooth with it. Like, I never saw, I mean, like, there was no, like, hesitation or, like, no missed shifts that I could hear. I mean, you would hear it if you miss a shift.
Yeah. And, you know, I almost, that first light with that Porsche next to me.
I saw that. I was like, oh, don't do it, Paul. Don't do it.
It'd be involuntary if I did. Yeah. You know, I was like, I'm not going to look over at him, because if I look over at him,
it's done.
It's done.
It's game on.
That's the universal sign, like, we're going.
Yep. Dude, it turns so many heads. Oh my god. I couldn't stop smiling for you. Like, holy cow. Yeah, every downshift, it's just that perfect, the little pops and bangs, like that nice crackle, and it's loud. I mean, even sitting at idle, like sitting behind him, it's just, you can hear it. I mean, like, obviously I have my windows down, trying to listen to it, but like, oh my god.
And you go over and under an overpass, and you kind of gotta go.
That's mandatory. You have
with
to.
The throttle.
Oh, dude, it sounds so good. And I know you only got on it one, maybe two times, but like, yeah, the back end kicked. Was that second gear?
That was, second gear.
Second gear. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been, you know, with the tires the way they are, I don't want to like really go at it yet. But yeah.
Could you hear any supercharger whine?
No, really? I could not. And I don't know if it's because the exhaust is so loud.
That's yeah, that's probably has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, I'm gonna let you close this one out, because this is your car, your video. I'm so happy for you, but because I know, yeah, I do want to get like a full rundown for not only myself, because I'm curious, but like also everybody watching. I'm sure they want to know the full rundown, so we'll definitely be back. But yeah, what are you thinking right now? Like, I'm sure my head is swirling, so I know yours got to be like just going a million miles an hour.
So for someone like me who generally doesn't do kind of spur of the moment stuff, this was spur of the moment for me. Like, I basically went from like 2 weeks ago not really caring about this thing to, okay, here's a check, give me the keys, and it's like, holy crap, now I've got this, and it's essentially what I want. And now I've got, of course, that, you know, huge dilemma of, well, do I keep it or do I swap it over to the OG Dark Horse and, you know, pick and pull the parts I want? But Bullitt's kind of an interesting proposition, so I guess we'll have to see.
Yep, you have to stay tuned. And like I said, we'll be back with Paul. We'll get a full rundown, full walk around, first drives, because I know he's driving. I want to ride in it. This thing looks rowdy. Looks and sounds rowdy, so yeah, stay tuned. But if you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button. We'll catch you on the next one.